Hello and welcome to Friday's Granada Reports. We are live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, here's what's coming up on the programme.
The failings that contributed to this mother's death behind bars. Christine was in prison for shoplifting small value items, including shampoo. Her family described her treatment as horrific.
She was left to suffer. It was inhumane, all of it was inhumane.
In the 90s, Stephen, a trans man, spoke out on our programme. So why are he and many others still having to fight to be accepted?
You watch it and you ask, hold on a minute, that was nearly 30 years ago. Why am I having this conversation now? I thought we'd got past it.
How Liverpool's Eurovision legacy lives on the eve of this year's final in Sweden. We've got to save this space.
The much-loved music venue that has been saved will be live from the Ferret tonight.
And our weather tomorrow looks set to stay fine, dry and very warm. I'll have all the details coming up later in the programme.
That's still to come, but first tonight we begin with that inquest finding that neglect, a gross failure to provide basic care and attention, was a factor in the death of a mother at Style Prison in Cheshire.
Christine MacDonald struggled with addiction that led to shoplifting convictions and a tragic chain of events that ended in her taking her own life 5 years ago.
Well, the jury's findings came at Cheshire Coroner's Court, where we can join our reporter Anna Yosef now. Anna.
Christine MacDonald was 55 at the time of her death and a mother of 4. The inquest heard how she'd been the first in her family to go to university and had ambitions to become a teacher. Instead, she ended up battling a serious drug addiction for most of her adult life. The jury also heard how one of her daughters, Christy, had also become an addict, something that had caused Christine to become riddled with guilt. In March 2019, Christine was arrested alongside Christy for failing to appear at court to face shoplifting charges. And during that arrest, Christy fell from the roof of a third-floor building, suffering serious injuries. Christine wasn't allowed to go to her daughter. Instead, she was sent directly to Blackpool Magistrates Court, where she was jailed for 12 weeks for failing to appear at court and for those shoplifting charges. She'd stolen a block of cheese, a bottle of shampoo, some bubble bath and hair dye. She was then transferred to HMP Style, still not knowing if her daughter was alive or dead and unable to contact other family members. The court heard how Cherie MacDonald, Christine's youngest daughter, had called the prison asking them to reassure Christine that Chrissy was alive and in hospital. She said, "I told them my mum would be freaking out and that it was vital they get this message to her." That vital message was never passed on.
Anna, what do we know about the medical care Christine MacDonald received while she was in custody?
Well, the jury heard that because Christine wasn't able to provide a urine sample, probably because she was dehydrated, she wasn't given methadone and started to suffer agonising withdrawal symptoms. On her second day in prison, she was transferred to Wythenshawe Hospital because of concerns raised during a healthcare assessment, but she discharged herself and was sent back to Style. Later that evening, she asked to see a nurse, but was refused. And then later that night, prison officers found Christine injured in her cell. She was pronounced dead the following day.
And Anna, the jury's findings about the care and the treatments that Christine received while she was in custody were pretty damning, weren't they?
They really were, Vicky. You know, the jury have had to sit through 2 weeks of incredibly harrowing and complex evidence. As the jury foreperson gave their findings today, some of the jury were in tears. They found Christine's death was contributed to by neglect. In other words, there was a gross failure to provide basic care and attention for her. They listed a catalogue of failings which they believe were all factors that led to Christine taking her own life. Healthcare staff and prison staff failed to communicate or share information. Prison staff didn't pass on that vital message about her daughter's welfare. They didn't follow the guidelines to treat her addiction or allow her to see a nurse when she requested one. Cherie MacDonald, Christine's daughter, who's a nurse herself, had this to say after the inquest.
was horrific. What I read was horrific. How she was treated, how she was neglected, how she was calling out for help and nobody came. She was left to suffer. It was inhumane, all of it was inhumane.
The coroner has said she'll be writing a report to the governor of HMP Stow and the Ministry of Justice because she's concerned that emergency response codes at the prison still aren't well understood and that this could lead to delays in prisoners receiving medical treatment and possibly further deaths.
Well, Anna Yosef at Cheshire Coroner's Court, thank you very much. Well, we have had a statement from the Prison Service. A spokesperson told us that their thoughts are with the friends and family of Christine MacDonald. They added...
Yeah, they said we are investing £14 million to improve safety in women's prisons and strengthening the support provided to those at risk of self-harm and suicide. We will consider the coroner's findings carefully and respond in due course. Well, next tonight, to a community that says they face prejudice at every stage of their lives.
Yeah, many who are trans or gender diverse say they face daily discrimination and are often the target for crime.
Figures show there were more than 2,500 victims of transgender crimes.
Almost 90% of those asked failed to report that experience.
Out of those who did, almost half were dissatisfied with the response.
Well, this week marks the first ever Trans Plus History Week, where we look at a community whose story can be traced back centuries. Lauren Ostrich has this special report.
Germany, 1933. The burning of the books is a moment in history seared on the minds of many. But a lesson most will never read about in books is what happened exactly 91 years ago today. The world's first Trans Plus clinic in Berlin was occupied by Nazis, and its entire library was set alight and destroyed.
So the Institute of Sexology was a very kind of early research centre. That week impacted the community hugely. When we talk about trans people kind of socially and politically, there's this idea that maybe trans people are new, but actually there was so much trans history collated in the Institute of Sexology that was just lost.
Queerlit is the UK's largest LGBTQ+ bookshop, right here in Manchester. It's piled high with works of thousands of queer and gender diverse writers and creatives. A regular customer here is Arlo. They came out as non-binary as a teenager. That means they use they/them pronouns. But their journey hasn't always been easy.
I knew that I was trans, and that was like, I was like, I've got to get over this hurdle where I have to come out to everybody and tell everybody. But then it was the medically transitioning part where I'm like, I'm going to have to jump through these hoops essentially to get the gender affirming care that I need.
How do you feel knowing that there's so many other people out there who are going through the same situation that you went through, not being able to go to a doctor and say, this is what's happening, please help?
It's just really sad. Had I not been able to access any of my affirming healthcare privately, I don't know if I'd be sat in this chair talking to you today. People aren't even on waiting lists, or they are on a waiting list but they're 10 years long for their first appointment. If I were to need routine NHS care, I wouldn't be waiting 10 years for my first appointment. So why is it the same for gender affirming care?
And it's those rights Arlo and Rosie fight for day in and day out. They run Trans Pride Manchester, leading thousands of protesters through the streets on Trans Visibility Day in August. Professor Whittles fought for trans rights for the last 5 decades. He was the 13th person to receive hormone therapy in the UK.
Spoke to my mum first. My dad walked in the room and asked what we were talking about, told him, and he said, well, we've been waiting for this since you were 2.
Professor Whittle appeared on Granada Reports in 1996, a time when trans people had no laws to protect them.
Nobody has an easy life of it. It's not a choice. Nobody makes a free choice to do this. It's this or you kill yourself.
What is your reaction to seeing this 27 years later?
It's a shame we're having to have the conversation again. You watch it and you ask, hold on a minute, that was nearly 30 years ago. Why am I having this conversation now? I thought we'd got past it. But, you know, as I keep saying to people, we're here and we're not going anywhere.
more than 20 years since the Gender Recognition Act, and hate crime towards the transgender community are at a record high.
I was sitting at home reading that people were going to come and try and kill me, that people were making threats on my life, people were saying we're going to find out where you live.
Actor Felix Mufti is known for the Netflix series Sex Education, but his heart lies with his theatre company, which encourages and supports LGBTQ+ people who are interested in the arts.
I work with a lot of young people who have developed really destructive self-behaviour patterns because of what other people think of them. You know, a lot of trans children have took attempts on their own life who have really done awful things to themselves because of what other people say to them. And now that there's more of a conversation around transness and we're kind of being fear-mongered and we're the kind of, you know, political punching bag at the moment, when the reality is transness has always been here. It's just our history has been eradicated.
Trans Plus History Week ends on Sunday, but the community hopes the untold stories of gender diverse people will continue to be heard. Lauren Ostrich, ITV News.
Well, the NHS says it is working hard to reduce times to meet the rapidly rising demand, with investment in adult gender dysphoria services doubled in recent years.
OK, moving on now, and it is, and I can't quite believe this, Kamal, it is a year since Liverpool hosted Eurovision, and that legacy lives on with record interest, probably down to the fact that Liverpool did such a fantastic job hosting it.
Yeah.
Record interest in the competition, which you either love or you hate, but I think we love it, don't we?
We absolutely loved it. We had a fun few days, didn't we?
We certainly did. You were on top of the live building,
That's
weren't
right.
you?
You in the mix.
I was in the mix
crowds.
with the fans, yeah.
Lots of fun.
Great.
Well, the official fan club say on the back of last year they've taken more people than ever to this year's final in Sweden tomorrow night, with many going from the region.
Here's our correspondent, Rob Smith.
The world's largest live music event with its standout staging and profound performances has moved from Liverpool to Malmö in Sweden. But while you can take the contest out of Merseyside, you can't take Merseyside out of the contest. Liverpool's slogan, "United by Music," isn't its sole legacy.
We've got a lot more enthusiasm, particularly from the Brits. Liverpool did wonders for the image of Eurovision. We brought lots more fans into the community, and lots of people got the bug last year in Liverpool and really wanted to come again. So demand has been higher than ever, certainly from the UK, to come and get tickets to be at the live event.
I'm so excited, honestly. I cannot believe this is the night. I've been waiting for this.
It's incredible. The whole city is buzzing, as you can see. Everyone's supporting their favourites.
It's a really great experience to be around everyone and see all the different nationalities.
It's just such a big thing for me, and I watch it every year at home. Love it.
When Liverpool turned blue and yellow last year to host on Ukraine's behalf, thousands partied in the city. Now, free music and dance events will recreate a tiny part of that.
We're doing it all again, in a much smaller scale. So we're going again with roller skating jellyfish, with loads of stuff happening here on the pier head. You know, remember what it was like this time last year. It was just full of glitter and sunshine. We've still got the sunshine. So we're doing all of that. Then we've got artists throughout the city playing brilliant Eurovision music.
Won't you make me live?
Whether this year's UK entry ends up on brilliant playlists may depend on the votes of millions tomorrow night. Singer Ollie Alexander spent part of his childhood in Blackpool and can't wait to shine for the nation.
Live on television, go, go, go. The operation, it's like, I've never seen anything like it. The way they can pull this off with so many different acts, so many different countries, and when you go to the arena, it's just like, yeah, military precision. It's quite amazing to see.
We are all Palestinians!
The contest in Sweden isn't without controversy. Protests against Israel's participation amid the conflict in Gaza have included boos inside the arena. Organisers are asking crowds to attend in, quote, the spirit of the event. Rob Smith, ITV News, Liverpool.
Well, there's loads happening in Liverpool this weekend to celebrate Eurovision and the city's staging of it last year. That's all at itv.com/Granada, where there's lots more details about that.
They had me at roller skating jellyfish.
They were spectacular.
Yeah, it's time for sport now, and it's a cup final weekend for Manchester United's women. Hello to you, Mike.
Yeah, hi guys. Could we have another piece of silverware heading back to the northwest? Manchester United take on Tottenham Hotspur in the Women's FA Cup final on Sunday. Thousands of supporters are preparing to make the trip to Wembley in the hope of seeing United lift their first major trophy. David Chisnall reports.
London's calling for Manchester United, with Wembley awaiting for their Women's FA Cup final with Tottenham Hotspur.
What I'm most looking forward to is being at Wembley with all of our supporters and trying to right the wrongs of last year. Last year we got so close, got to the final and got beaten against Chelsea. And so this season we're just hoping that we can go all the way.
What a pullback, what a goal from England. Once again, England's Ella Toone will be key for United if they're to overcome that disappointment. And aspiring footballers at her old school, Fred Longworth High in Tildesley, hopes she can fire them to glory.
It just means so much that someone at our school is playing for just such a good team like United. I hope she does really well and scores a lot of goals for us.
What emotions would you go through if they did win it?
I'd be jumping up and down my house, screaming, yes!
Watch out your neighbours, it
I
could
know,
be noisy.
I know. I'll buy them all some headphones.
You went last year, they lost. What would it mean then to go this year and then win?
It'd be even better. I'm so grateful to go, and for us to win would be even better because it was so sad last time. So the drive home was horrendous.
Well, this is what it's all about. This is the Women's FA Cup, and this is what Manchester United want to be lifting come Sunday evening for the very first time in the club's history. The final at Wembley is a sellout for a second year in a row. Former England goalkeeper Rachel Brown-Finnis, who won the FA Cup in 2010 with Everton, says it's another positive sign of progress in women's football.
Well, I played in the last FA Cup final before they went to Wembley in 2014, and you know, to see it the next year and to be 30,000, and then every year since then to annual sellout. Women's football, girls' football, it's at unprecedented levels. Participation, viewership, and it's now part of who we are as a culture. Women play football, men play football.
History awaits United's players.
Come on, United!
And their fans.
Come on, Toonie!
If they can lift the trophy on Sunday. David Chisnall, ITV News, Tildesley.
Well, staying with Manchester United, and Erik ten Hag is confident common sense will prevail as the club's owners consider his future. United's season hit a new low on Monday with a 4-0 defeat at Crystal Palace. They are 8th in the Premier League table but still have an FA Cup final to come. Ten Hag was asked if he was worried he'd suffer the same fate as former United boss Louis van Gaal, who won the cup but was still sacked.
No, I think they have common sense and they see when you have 32 different backlines. If they see we use 13 partnerships in centre halves, when they see when we don't have a left fullback, when we have so many injuries, they know that will have a negative impact on the results. And still, we are fighting.
To the bottom half of the Premier League, and Everton have today withdrawn their appeal against a 2-point deduction for breaching financial rules. They are, of course, now safe from relegation. The same can't be said for Burnley, who could be relegated tomorrow. They need to beat Spurs and hope other results go their way.
On any given day, players can do something special, and that's the mindset for Saturday. Can it be that day where you can do something special? We've hit it from 30 yards top corner as well this season. Not enough, but it could be that day, and that's how we have to believe in the next game.
Staying with football, and can Crewe Alexandra stage a famous comeback tonight? It's the second leg of their League Two playoff semi-final away at Doncaster. They trail 2-0 from the first leg. Wembley awaits the winners.
We're a young team, so to be in the position that we're in, and we might not have had the best of form in the last 8 to 10 games, but it just shows how good that we was at the start of the season, through the mid-course of the season, to put ourselves in a position. We're still in the playoffs, and I'm confident that we can establish ourselves and get to the finals.
In rugby union, Sale Sharks will bid farewell to one of their biggest names tonight. England international Manu Tuilagi plays his final home match for the Sharks, and it's against his old club Leicester Tigers. He's joining French side Bayonne next season, and he hopes to bow out by leading Sale into the Premiership playoffs.
And every time we play here, it's special. It's been a home for me for the last 4 years, and amazing. Loved every moment of it, and we're just looking forward to getting out on Friday night and do our best.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
And finally, to what is sure to be an emotional afternoon in Rochdale as football legends and hopefully a big crowd turn out in support of Joe Thompson. Joe, who's 35, has been diagnosed with cancer for a third time. He was a crowd favourite during his career with Rochdale, and he's hoping fans will help him raise lots of money at the Goals for Cure charity match. And he sent us this message ahead of the game.
It's going to be a wonderful occasion. It really isn't about me. It's about the bigger picture. I'm doing okay. I'm receiving treatment at the moment, and I will be there. So I look forward to seeing you all this Saturday, the Crown Royal Arena. Let's go!
Yeah, it's a 4 p.m. kickoff in Rochdale tomorrow. Please support Joe if you can. It will be a massive crowd, no question.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of turned out to support him. It's lovely to see him on there as well, isn't it, Mike?
Brilliant, absolutely.
Really, really lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, next tonight, as live music venues go, there's one in Preston which, over the years, I think it is fair to say, has become a bit of an institution.
It certainly has, and it's as popular with the stars as it is with the fans. The Ferret has played host to everyone from Ed Sheeran to Royal Blood.
And tonight, they are celebrating as its future has been secured for generations to come.
So let's go to our reporter Tim Scott, who's there, and he's kicking off his Friday night early. Tim.
Yes, Vicky, load of bands here on the famous stage at the Ferret later tonight. But it was only a few months ago that this place nearly went under because, like a lot of venues, they're plagued with all sorts of reasons for them to possibly close down in this day and age. But thanks to an innovative new scheme from the Music Venue Trust, this place's future is now secure. I'm going to speak now to Mark from the Music Venues Trust. Tell us about the scheme, Mark. Why has it been a success and how did it work?
This is called like a community ownership scheme. People all across the country and people in this local community have donated or they've invested in that programme. We've got a huge amount of money together and now we're buying freeholds like this all across the country.
You say people have donated. Who are these people? Are they just music fans?
They're music fans in this community, people who really love this fantastic, iconic venue we've got here in Preston. But there are also people right across the country who really understand that we need touring venues like this and they really believe in music and the power of it.
Fantastic stuff. Matt from the Ferret now. Matt, your music venue now owned by music fans. It means you can continue to make a living. You must be overjoyed.
Yeah, we're absolutely over the moon, really. It's fantastic. It's such a turnaround. This time last year, we thought we were going to lose the place, and now we're safe and secure for years to come.
What was it like for you and the staff here when you were worried about going under?
It was difficult. Yeah, we were, we were all worried about the place, and it was quite stressful for everyone. But yeah, no, it's a real turnaround now. We're extremely pleased that we're in this position.
Fantastic, happy days. Now, one of the bands who are playing here later tonight are Genie, and before this place's future was secured, they released a single in support of the Ferret, and we're going to give you a little flavour of that now.
When push comes to shove, time denies a certainty. Believe me, wailing, it goes on and on and on. I can see it in your face. We've got to save this space. I will recognize these signs. We'll be there on Friday night.
Joining me now is Jean from Genie. Joining me now is Jean from Genie. Jean, you must have really felt strongly to make a song about saving the ferret. Why are these places so important?
Well, firstly, music, community and charity is my calling in the universe. And places, spaces like the ferret are vital for grassroots musicians. It's where we cut our teeth. Yes. It's a safe space for us to come and perform our new material and meet like-minded individuals, knowing that we will not be ridiculed and everybody's welcome. It's like a home from home here.
And what would it have meant for Preston if this place had gone under?
Oh, it's so vital to Preston. In terms of all the bands that come through, I mean, I remember seeing Catfish and the Bottlemen here, and you have people like Ed Sheeran who are playing, like they're huge now, so we need places like this. It's vital.
Thanks so much, Jean. Jean's going to be here on stage later on. Back to the studio now, Vicky Gamal.
Tim, thank you.
Here's Louisa with the weather.
Have you burnt tea again?
I'm scraping the cooled oil into the bin, not the sink.
Can we eat outside? It's nice.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, good evening. We have a few late spells of sunshine this evening. Clear skies develop in the overnight period and there is a chance of seeing the aurora or northern lights. The further north you are, the best the visibility will be, but if it's something you're interested in, you're in for a treat. We'll have sunny spells through tomorrow again. It will feel quite warm, but we do have the arrival of some thunderstorms through Sunday with a yellow warning in place for that. Tonight into tomorrow, high pressure remains with us, keeping things fine, dry and settled. We do have a low pressure system pushing in from the Atlantic, bringing some wet weather through Sunday, so there will be a noticeable change and a drop in temperatures too. Clear skies tonight, things will stay fine, dry and settled. It will be quite mild and muggy through tonight. Temperatures holding up in double digits, 12 to 15 degrees Celsius possible with light winds. So a mild, muggy, humid start tomorrow morning. Any low cloud will lift and break. Sunny spells developing into the afternoon. Another warm day, very warm inland, actually highs of possibly 23 degrees Celsius. Lighter winds and slightly cooler along the coast and in the Isle of Man there. UV levels will be high tomorrow, so if you're out in the sunshine, please do take care. So looking ahead for the next few days, we have that yellow warning for thunderstorms coming in on Sunday afternoon. There is a chance of some heavy downpours there with some risk of some surface water and hail in the mix. As we move into Monday, we have further outbreaks of rain at times. Temperatures noticeably down a few degrees. Still some mild nights in the forecast, but wet and unsettled as we move through the rest of next week. That is the very latest. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye for now.
It's a little bit burnt.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
And that is it for Granada Reports today. And so lovely to see you back because you've been off for a bit.
Have you missed me?
I have.
I broke my ankle, so I've been off. And thank you very much indeed to the staff at the Fracture Clinic at Aintree Hospital. They've put me back together.
Well,